Hello, everyone, and welcome to Against the Fence. This is your UFC People's Pick show. We're going to be breaking down UFC 276. We're at 76 now, aren't we? Blimey, we're flying through the year. Anyway, it's going to be absolutely immense. We've got Israel Adesanya, one of my favorite fighters in the game, up against Cannonier, and Ash and I, are going to be going through every single bit of it. So stay tuned for more. What's good, everyone? So yes, it's me, Sai, and I'm here with Ash, and we're going to be going through
I'm back.
Yeah, man. It's good as... you weren't here last time, were you? It was me and Jake going through it. Yeah. What happened? Tell us the story. What's going on?
Children, mate. Children.
How many you got? I know how many you got. I'm playing. I'm just doing
4,000.
I wouldn't put it past you, bro.
Mate, I can't wait for this card, though, to be honest. Obviously, we have had so many changes to this card. It's been unbelievable. Obviously, we had Donald Cerrone at one point on the main card. Then he's in the prelims. Obviously, at one stage, they had Sean O'Malley off the main card. That was ridiculous. How can you not have Sean O'Malley on the main card
He's
now?
not ranked, though, bro. He's not ranked. Oh, wait, no,
Sean
sorry.
O'Malley,
he is now. He is now. Yeah. But that was only lately.
Calls Miguel in the chat. What's up, bro?
What's good, Calls? Hey, look, thanks for being patient with us, man. We've been a little bit delayed for our live show tonight, but otherwise, I'm glad you joined and tuned on in. This is all about the fight picks for UFC 276, Adesanya versus Cannonier. We're going to be breaking down the fight from start to stop, each and every single fight on the card. And I guess so what do we say usually, Ash? It's not about telling you what to think. It's about teaching you how to think.
How to think, yes, exactly. Indeed. So, and ATF is the place to be.
Absolutely. And Calls, thanks for your picks, because we got some really exciting picks.
Yes, let's go straight into it. I can't wait to dive into it. Let's go. Yes, come on.
All right.
Interesting fight as well is coming up first. Great fight.
It is, yeah. Shall we have a look at the card? So first up, we are going to be looking at Pedro Munhoz versus Sean O'Malley. So we're getting into the thick of it. So read out the stats, what we got there. Do you have the stats there, or shall I read it out?
You go for it, buddy.
All right, so first up, we've got Pedro Munhoz, the young Punisher, versus Sean O'Malley, Sugar O'Malley. Now, the record so far, as you can read there, is 19-7-0, and then, of course, you've got O'Malley at 15-1. Find out Brazil, find out the United States. I think the biggest numbers to dick picked here are going to be the height advantage for O'Malley.
The reach advantage is crazy,
against a 5'6". Yeah, no, reach, you're right. It's what? You're talking about 6, 7, 8... 7.5 inches on top of.
Yes. Munhoz. The reach advantage is crazy, but this is the thing. It's a massive reach advantage.
Yeah.
O'Malley is one that does well using his long range weapons, his kicks, his jab. He's got his down the pipe left is money. Down the pipe right is money.
He sets up quite well as well. He tends to lean in on it quite a bit, doesn't he?
That's the thing. The leg kicks of Pedro gonna pay dividends. Obviously, we all know he's got shaky little legs. Is Pedro going to get in close and use them leg kicks? Who knows?
That is the question. I mean, Pedro's the kind of guy who's sort of like, he moves laterally quite a lot, and he's got that power swing when he comes on in with it as well. Yeah. But yeah, this guy's he's done quite well in the UFC. Who's he fought as of late? He's
to be fair. Do you know what?
Go on, you first.
You've got to give it to Pedro Munhoz. His last fights have been against former champions. So Dominic Cruz, which he dropped him and nearly knocked him out in his last fight.
Yeah.
Then he fought Josie Aldo before that.
Yeah.
Then he fought Frankie Edgar before that.
Yeah.
Then he fought Aljamain Sterling, the champion that's now. Crazy. The guy has fought the elite level of this bantamweight division.
True that.
And I know he's only won one of them fights, but he all by decision.
Yeah.
And obviously knocking out the former champion in Cody Garbrandt as well. So,
do you know what it is? One time, Jake and I were breaking our fights, watching the fights through in the evening, and what we noticed was that Pedro, he loses to legends.
Yeah.
To legends. It's almost like he gets like some sort of starstruck in the auction, something like that. But he just doesn't perform. And then I asked myself, watching this fight for this card, does he lose to legends, or does he lose to the celebrities of the sport? Because Sean O'Malley's not a legend, but he's a celebrity in the sport.
Yeah.
So now I'm wondering about, So we got, we really got to break it down and get into it.
Yeah, we got to get into it. We got any picks for this one?
Yeah, we do. Shall we have a look at them?
Yeah,
we'll check out some of the people's picks, and we'll come right back.
Good afternoon, guys. So here are my fight picks for UFC 276. During Pedro Munhoz and Sean O'Malley, I believe Pedro Munhoz will try to wrestle Sean O'Malley. However, I believe Sean O'Malley will be able to keep his length and take him out that way.
Up next is Sean O'Malley taking on Pedro Munhoz. Classic new generation versus old generation. Nobody has more fights in the bantamweight division than Pedro Munhoz, and nobody is more durable. The guy's never been finished by strikes. You know, Sean O'Malley's going to test that. He's got the youth advantage, the measurables advantage, you know, way more significant strikes landed per minute. If you get past his goofy haircut and his, you know, kind of weird personality, he's a very talented striker. He's no clown. He is, I think he's going to out-kickbox Pedro Munhoz to a very dominant decision. I don't think he finishes Pedro Munhoz, although that would be very ironic if he could not finish Chris Moutinho, but he can finish Pedro Munhoz, who's never been finished before. Pedro Munhoz is getting up there in age. 35 years old for a bantamweight is pretty old, so maybe his durability will finally crack under the pressure of Sean O'Malley. But one thing I know for sure, I think Sugar Sean O'Malley will pass this test and, you know, finally move into the top 10 of the division.
Hello everyone at ATF, this is Liam from MMA Fanalytics. Let's get straight into my picks. So if we begin with the Pedro Munhoz and Sean O'Malley fight, this is definitely one of O'Malley's biggest tests to date. But in saying that, Munhoz has lost 4 of his last 7 fights, so maybe it is more of a resume builder for him and will enable him to get into the top 10 of the bantamweight division. But it has to be noted, I suppose, that the losses for Munhoz were to the likes of Aljamain Sterling, Jose Aldo and Dominic Cruz, all via decision, so this should be still competitive enough. But there's no doubt he's moving towards the end of his career, whereas Sean O'Malley is definitely only coming into his prime. O'Malley's only lost to Chito Vera, but outside of that fight, this will definitely be his toughest test against his most battle-tested opponent, so it'll definitely be interesting to see how he fares. But overall, I do think O'Malley will come out on top in this one, and if he can finish Munhoz, he will really set down a benchmark, given Munhoz has never been finished before.
Yo,
Good points.
There's some really interesting picks there.
Yeah,
I didn't mind them at all. I think what I noticed most of all was talking about the age differences between the two bantamweights, right?
Spot on, yeah.
Yeah, you got someone like Sean coming into his prime, and you got someone like Pedro Munhoz, who's like 35 now, which is quite old for a bantamweight as combat. Addicted to combat put quite wisely, as did analytics. But look, how do you think this fight's going to be taken? Do you reckon Munhoz is going to use his wrestling in this? Is he going to have a chance to? Does O'Malley have what it takes to keep it standing? Because, I mean, you know, he's not going to opt in for the wrestling, right?
No, that's the thing. I think Sean O'Malley can actually shrug the takedown attempts off Pedro. I reckon his frame is going to be hard to get him down. It's one of them really where you need someone that's going to be similar height. Right. To sort of drive them takedowns. It'd be very hard for him to drive these takedowns. I think just his frame alone he'll be able to shrug them off. But if he's relentless with it, then you never know. He may tire in the latter rounds. But as I said earlier, the leg kicks will be key here. If Pedro Munhoz does chuck their legs down early, then it could be a long night for Sean O'Malley. But I can just see Sean O'Malley catching him.
It's true that. I think... Yeah, Sean O'Malley, what he likes to do is he likes make people chase. And I feel like in this fight, Munhoz is someone who's going to chase.
100%,
he's got to compensate for his lack of reach advantage. So he's going to throw his whole body behind his punches. Yeah. He's going to be chasing into range. And you know, O'Malley's about to step back, you know, sort of make a phantom of his presence and then just like catch him with it. I feel that's how it could go. But if Munhoz now goes for the takedown, looking at the grappling numbers here.
He's got he's got a good guillotine.
He does have a good guillotine. He does have a good guillotine. I feel like O'Malley's not been in many matchups to sort of truly display, tested his grappling to truly display his full capability. Because it says here he's got 50% takedown accuracy and he's got like 64% takedown defense. The reality is he's rarely had to lean on it.
Yes, that's true.
So those numbers aren't going to be rich out of the quantity there. But striking wise, it certainly leads on the O'Malley's side because that's what he does best and that's what he does quite richly. He absorbs less and he puts out far more. So is he comfortable to say that if he keeps it standing, it will be in O'Malley's favor? And if it gets taken to the ground, it'll be Munhoz?
Yeah. I was just about to say, you get into that gauge. Well, I just quickly welcome in Damo. He says,
yes, Damo. What's good, bro?
Either Sean, Max, or Izzy is going to sleep. I can see it happening. And then
Sean is going to sleep.
Yeah.
Sean.
Yeah, apparently so. And then follows up with, I'm going to be honest, I only care about Max and Volk. That's my main event.
All right,
mate. It's to some people that is their main event. Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, I got something to say about Max and Volk, and we'll get to that.
Right.
We'll get to that. But looking at the gauges, who gets a striking advantage? I think we're confident to say it's going to be O'Malley. Yeah. And then grappling wise,
it's going to go Pedro.
Yep. But power now.
This is the thing where it gets a bit dicey because obviously this is where you can get technical, because I think Sean O'Malley's timing and sharpness knocks people out, not his power.
Right.
Because timing beats speed. And obviously, timing is everything in this sport. So
you would go power to Munhoz and speed to O'Malley?
Definitely speed to O'Malley. But I don't know.
What did the numbers say in way of knockout? So, for example, if you look at who got the most knockouts here and leave it to the paper, I think it's 73% to O'Malley, 26% to Munhoz.
That's what I mean. I was just about to kind of get into. I've not really seen Pedro Munhoz knock people dead like O'Malley has.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to go with the MMA maths here and go O'Malley. I can't disagree because I've not really seen, apart from obviously the Cody Garbrandt one, but that was just Cody Garbrandt being stupid.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was...
and he was off balance as well.
The world of MMA will agree with you on that. The world of MMA will agree. But then speed as well, I'll go O'Malley too.
Yes, 100%, mate, yep.
Cardio-wise, O'Malley rarely sees the third...
Pedro Munhoz for me, just because he's always in 3-1 wars, and he's always going. He never stops.
Do you know what I love about? Go
on. No, you go, buddy.
Okay, I was just going to say, do you know what I love about Pedro Munhoz and the fact you're saying about these wars he's in? He's got this fascinating ability to just he becomes more into the fight the more he gets punched.
Yes,
you know, he's like. You up the ante, you up the heat, you up the ferocity on him, and he just comes alive. He's like 100%. The Hulk. The more pain he takes, the more damage, the stronger he gets. And that's Munhoz to a T. And you know, my biggest fear for O'Malley on this is just going too fast, too hard, too fast. If he like ramps up late second round, then he might be able to comfortably do the rest.
This is what I'm saying as well.
Don't awaken him too soon, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying as well. So I'm going to jump onto the point just quickly. Like you're saying, look how fast O'Malley started in his last fight against Piver. He started and also in the previous one against that Montinho. He started so quick, wanted to get the flashy knockout. Yeah. And obviously he kind of tired in that fight because he kind of threw everything. And I kind of see him trying to get that finish because even he said in his press conference as well, he says he doesn't mind just beating Pedro because it's a big win anyway. Yeah. But knocking out Pedro because he's never been finished is something to behold. And we all know what Sean O'Malley's like, and he wants these credentials to get. And I can see him trying to definitely finish Pedro, but Pedro will hang in there, man.
That he could just well do. And I wouldn't put it past him to really stick it out to the very end. He's a tough guy. He's definitely a real tough guy. All right, then let's move on to the next fight on the card, shall we? I think that sums up. I think. One more thing to do. One last thing to do before we do go. Are you gonna side with Munhoz or O'Malley?
I actually I had a dream last night. I don't know if you heard me in the chat.
Do you know I heard this voice note? I was on my lunch. I heard this voice note.
I had a dream last night that Sean O'Malley knocked out Pedro Munhoz with a head kick. So I don't know why that popped into my head, but I still would side with O'Malley anyway. But as I said at the start twice, it all depends on the leg kicks of Pedro. If Pedro starts eating up at these leg kicks, then you just don't know because obviously the footwork of O'Malley is key. The range is key for O'Malley, but the leg kicks change fights, man. But on paper and my prediction, I think O'Malley will actually knock him out. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I love a prophecy in a dream sort of thing.
That's it, mate. I've seen the future. I also saw Frankie Edgar as the bantamweight champion as well.
Oh, yeah. What were you smoking? I love what you're having. All right. So next one up on the card, we've got Robbie Lawler versus Bryan Barberena.
Yes, great fight.
Yeah, here we go. So we've got 29 and 15 on the side of the red corner, which is Bobby Lawler. He's going to be he's going to be fighting, and the challenger is going to be the Bryan Barberena, who's going to be 17 and 8. So we've got someone who's of old, an absolute legacy fighter against someone come up and new, who's dangerous and lethal with his hands as well, just as much. Now, no big differences on numbers in terms of height-wise. It's pretty close, and reach-wise, again, it's pretty close.
This fight's going to be a brawl, man. It's going to be a brawl.
I think it is. I'm so glad to put this on the main card because my biggest worry might be the gas tank of Lawler, just of his age.
Mate, to be honest, both of their gas tanks.
Then Barberena, he has labour shots too.
But But the grit of Robbie Lawler, I think, will prevail, which will prevail him through this fight because how slow Bryan Barberena was in his last fight.
Matt Brown
against Matt Brown was he tired so much, and I just think the grit of Robbie Lawler can get him through in this fight.
Didn't he stay lethal?
He was lethal, but the shots were laboured though. But yeah.
There's power there, but they came slowly. Yeah, I agree with you in that. Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of guy when pressed up against the fence, he likes to sort of like pepper his opponents with like short, rapid punches.
That's the thing that wound me up. Obviously, he was tagging Matt Brown so much, and then leaned into him to sort of rest.
Yeah. And on the points wise, if you look at the points of that, like he's got a constant output throughout, which is going to continue. Yeah. But it looks good for the judges, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
and that's sometimes you've got to take into account. So see what the people had to say about it, and then we'll come back.
Let's jump into it. Yeah,
let's check it out.
Hey, what's going on against the fence? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, giving out some fan predictions for UFC 276, the big pay-per-view this weekend. As far as the main card goes, I think what kicks it off is Bryan Barberena taking on Robbie Lawler. So two guys that I never thought I would see fight each other, but I got to take Bryan Barberena in this one. It's a close fight. Robbie Lawler at 40 years old now has relied over his entire career on his power, his speed, and he usually gets outstruck on the numbers in his fights in the past, but he's able to win rounds and win fights based on his viciousness and his power. I think that is starting to fade as he's gotten closer to 40 years old now. Not aside from the Nick Diaz fight, which was kind of a layup for him, an easy fight to get a bounce back victory. I think Bryan Barberena is a guy who can push the pace for 3 rounds, and it might not look the cleanest. He might get hit, but I think he'll put up enough numbers on the board to win a close-cut decision.
For the Robbie Lawler Bryan Barberena fight, I believe that the young dog is going to take this one because unfortunately, as time's gone on, Robbie Lawler hasn't been fighting as much, and Bryan Barberena is a dog, so unless Robbie can get the knockout, I'm going with Bryan Barberena.
All right, look at that. Another story of someone who's just been experienced in UFC, age against youth.
Yes.
Another story of age against youth. And look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the age. I mean, I think Glover sort of tied things up for us. You can't be too old for anything. But at the same time, it's got to be about skill set and ability. And you got these new cats coming through with some pretty savvy ways of doing things. They've been standing on the shoulders of giants, and they've just been coming in with washing out some of the old people with some new stuff. When was the last time Robbie Lawler fought the new generation fighter, would you say? Because his last fight, of course, Nick Diaz, that was one of the old generations. But when's the last time he really...
To be fair, he's been on a bit of a losing streak apart from that.
He has. And that was to the new generation, or...
He lost to RDA. I wouldn't really say he's new generation.
Yeah.
Ben Arskin, shit. Kobe Covington, kind of. Neil Magny.
He's old generation. Neil Magny.
He's a veteran of the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not really fought any of the new cats of this division, as you just mentioned, really.
Yeah.
But he easily picked apart Nick Diaz.
He did. But he was older than himself.
Yes, so true, yeah.
And he was well out of shape. No surprise there.
Yeah.
Rewatching that one, I thought, what is he doing, Nick?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm just trying to think. But Bryan Barberena was on a 2-fight win streak, obviously picking up the win in his last one against Matt Brown. And then Darren Weeks lost to Jason Witt. So again, he's kind of lost to the cream of the crop, losing to Randy Brown, losing to Vicente Luque, losing to Leon Edwards, losing to Kobe Covington as well.
They are pretty cream.
So again, like obviously that Matt Brown fight was well close. So this is what I'm saying as well. I just think that Robbie Lawler's going to have that grit to see him through. But let's get the numbers up anyway.
Yeah. All right. Let's have a look. So we're going to talk about then who's got the power advantage and all that sort of stuff, but significant strikes. You want about the gauges, or we're getting into the grappling and striking?
Oh, you can get into the grappling and striking if they're there, mate.
Yeah. In terms of grappling and striking. So my question to you would be like, would Lawler have to lean on his grappling credentials in order to sort of mix up the offense?
I don't think so, no.
Sort of get ahead on Barberena. Because what I would have thought, personally, I thought Lawler would have to get a takedown each round, I would say, in order to sort of like bank something on the scorecards for the judges. I feel like in a stand-up, Barbara's going to be too constant and too menacing that Lawler's going to have some success, But in terms of output, I think like Barberena's gonna have the most output, and he could. And Lawler could gas. So a takedown would secure a little bit for him, I think, personally.
True. This is where I'm going to disagree with you, Mr. Brown.
Really?
I just, like you said, I agree with the forward pressure of Bryan.
Yeah.
But I just think him coming in, Lawler's going to catch him.
Yeah.
I really do. I just think he's going to catch him.
How many times has this guy been knocked out, Barberena? Because bear in mind, the last matchup against Matt Brown really sort of.
Yeah, I don't think he has the power of Lawler, though.
Yeah.
He got knocked out by Randy Brown, got knocked out by Vicente Luque.
Right. Barberena did.
Yeah.
Randy Brown, my boy, go on, yeah.
Yeah. They're his last 2 knockouts, and they were in 2019, though.
Yeah.
But like, he does have a good chin. I agree. He does have a great chin.
Yeah, and look at the grappling credentials there. Like, I feel like in terms of how Matt Brown fared in his last fight, not Matt Brown, how Barberena fought against Matt Brown in his last fight, like the takedowns were the key in that. That was how you sort of got up on him in each round. And I feel like if Robbie Lawler takes a leaf out of that book, he can see some success here too. Naturally. But in the striking and the stand-up, power. Well, let's get into the gauges. Gauges will be perfect for this. Let's get into gauges. So striking, because this is hard for me. I don't know the answer to striking.
Mate, I've got to go Robbie Lawler, man.
Yeah.
You may disagree, but I've got to go Lawler. I've got to back with Lawler.
I'm actually clueless about that one. In terms of power, that's even
Lawler as well.
Yeah. Grappling, I'll go Lawler. Grappling. Because Barberena didn't have any.
This is where it's quite evenly matched, because I've not really seen. When was the last time I saw
evenly matched?
When was the last time I saw Lawler go for a takedown? Who knows?
He chucked in a couple of. He did a bit of Nick Diaz, but not a lot. To be fair, he sort of mixed up. He had some success with the hands, and he just sort of shot on him, which is more than what Barberena would do. Barberena would just have success with the hands and keep on with the hands.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just gonna Damo. I'll get to all your comments in a second, because there's so many. He's just talking to Jordan. But welcome in, Marco, buddy. Welcome back, bro? As well. We've not seen you in a while. Welcome in, mate.
I'm not seeing the comments on this end, so yeah, you got to.
He's just talking. He's just going back and forth with Jordan. That's all right. I'll get to it in a sec. But wrestling. I really don't know. Marco, Damo, who do you reckon gets the wrestling in this? Because I can't remember the last time I saw Robbie Lawler go for a takedown.
Yeah,
and we saw in the last fight against Nick Diaz. We saw in Bryan. Sorry, he took down Matt Brown, but that was every now and then. I don't know if that was to get a little bit of a breather or what, but yeah, probably grappling wise, I'd go Barberena in that one.
Okay, Barberena gets grappling. Okay, and then power you'll go to Lawler.
Yeah,
and speed. I'll go Barberena.
Lawler. Oh, come off it, Mr. Brown.
I mean, he's getting on. He's getting on.
Man.
Cardio.
Cardio goes to Robbie Lawler, man. Well, this is where they're both got questionable arguments with their gas tank. But grit. I know, to be fair to him, in the last fight, this is where it could go either way, because in the last fight, obviously, we saw Bryan Barberena took that fight for just outlasting Matt Brown.
He was labored, but he had output still.
Yeah, this is what I said earlier, Marco. I said just before you joined in, Bryan Barberena comes in, always pressures forward, and even Marco's good with me. Robbie Lawler may catch him, and that's what I said earlier. So
he might do. But I feel like Barberena is just going to keep going. Okay, so for this one, you want a landslide Lawler, which is like 4-1. You think grappling goes to Barberena, but everything else goes to Lawler's side. Interesting. I would go differently. I would give Barberena cardio. Just because I feel like he's labored, yes, but he's still.
I'm just trying to think in his last fight.
Matt Brown. Honestly, I was so impressed with that Matt Brown fight. It was so good. Matt Brown was fighting out of his hometown, so he had so much more to carry on there. And the fact that Barberena was able to keep up and push Matt Brown to the extent he had to go to, insane.
Damo saying my opinion. Well, obviously, because I'm mainly siding with Lawler, because he's probably questioning me. Saying my opinions are on about 2015 Lawler. Not really, though, because in his last fight, I know he was fighting Nick Diaz.
It's true.
But this is Robbie Lawler, though, man. He can catch anyone.
Yeah, but he's old now, bro.
I know he's old, but
this is old now. And you can't judge him on his last performance against Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz wasn't even a competitor.
You can never question someone's grit, and obviously, if you're questioning me on Robbie Lawler's grit, then Damo, then come on now.
I don't know. He had grit, yeah, but now he's got age.
Yeah,
And
I know. But the fighters that Lawler fought are grapplers. That's why this is what I'm saying. Look,
all right.
this is where everyone's saying to me, "Oh, this is 2015 Lawler." Lawler's obviously being questionable and questioned because his last fight's RDA grappler, Ben Askren grappler, Cody Covington grappler, Neil Magny grappler. So he's not going to get much striking against these guys because they're just going to fucking wrestle with him. So there's you lot saying 2015 Lawler. He's fought grapplers ever since, and then he's fighting Nick Diaz. Yeah, fair enough. Nick Diaz is getting on a bit as well, but he's still got a bit of pop to his punches, man. And you're going to see it Saturday night, boys, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, shit.
You put an interesting point in there. You put an interesting point in there.
For all
over the 15 years, the issue has not just been the grappling. The issue, you see it in his fatigue, in his wearing down. I don't know. He gets labored. And
you go for it, Mr. Ryan. You can give Ryan Barberena cardio. I'll let you. Go on.
All right, we'll have that 2-3 still, but it looks like Robbie Lawler wins it in terms of how the MMA mass adds up.
And I just think Lawler's going to win the fight as well. Yeah, are you going to go Brian Barberena on the night? Yeah.
I feel like I might do.
Mark and Damo are definitely going for Barberena. The way they're talking to me.
The young cat. I think youth is going to take it. All right. Time to move on. We are spending too much time on this one, but we're going to get back into the fight card and see who's up next. We are on fight number 3, and that is going to be the
You'll see, Damo. Don't you worry, mate.
Strickland, Alex Pereira. Now, we've got odds here. These 5 guys are even on the odds. They're both...
Yeah, even on odds. Just to clarify, O'Malley's a massive favourite. Rob Lawler and Bryan are both even as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, Alex Pereira and Sean Strickland are even as well, yeah.
Dead even. So I wonder if it's going to have an impact on how we're going to be picking things. But looking at the record, you got 25-3 for Strickland, and then you got for Alex Pereira 2-0, and you got Pereira Strickland, who's number 4 in the division, and Alex Pereira, who's unranked, which tells you
crazy. It tells you a lot about what the UFC are doing.
About his fast track.
Literally fast track. There you go. There it is, mate. Take the contract.
Insane. I mean, who does that? Who gets to come straight into UFC and go against number 4? Like, should have happened. It's like, what? Unbelievable. But I'm not complaining. I don't know. Are you? Are you complaining?
Mate, I'm not complaining because I'll get into it after the picks.
All right. Yeah, we'll see what the people got to say about it. I mean, there's no big differences here in terms of reach and height that I can massively pick out. I mean, it looks like his advantage is leaning on Pereira's side, but it's not huge. About 3 inches, I would say, or the numbers would say. But let's see what the people have to say about this particular matchup, and then we'll come right back to get into the nitty-gritty numbers and opinions on it all.
The watch along UFC Columbus, and he's also saying they are trying to push him towards Israel ASAP. I know, and look, I'm all for it. I want to see that fight as much as you guys, but I just believe that this is too much of a jump too soon. It's insane that the UFC are going down this route. Do they think that perhaps Pereira's going to finish someone like Strickland, who's on the rise and looks impressive? Maybe they do, but the only thing that I can see Alex Pereira winning this fight is if it's one in a bigger octagon. I mean, it's going to be at a pay-per-view, so it will be in the bigger octagon. It's not going to be at the Apex. And he's just going to have to use movement against Strickland. Strickland's just not going to be in your face the whole time. It's a very difficult fight for Alex Pereira.
Looking at the Strickland and Pereira fight, I think we may see Strickland flipping the script to a certain extent here and looking for a safer approach to victory, utilising his grappling a bit more. And he does have a very good grappling game, but is just very underutilised by him, as he does prefer the striking. And while he does have a decent striking game, working behind a nice jab and constant forward pressure, that is all well and good against the likes of Hermansson and Uriah Hall, but I just don't think it'll work against Pereira, given his kickboxing skill set. Pereira was matched with Strickland to try and fast track him to the title fight with Izzy, and Strickland was viewed as a good candidate given his ranking and style, but given the high stakes, I think Strickland will rely more on his grappling than people would think, and if he does, I feel he can grind out a win. But if he does try and stand and trade, Pereira should have the upper hand and could get the finish. And I just think the stakes involved...
Sean Strickland and Alex Pereira. I believe Alex Pereira, while he's a crazy striker, I don't believe that he has the ability to stop the takedown from Sean Strickland. And I believe that Sean Strickland will fight smart and get the win.
Go. Oh, well, you heard it there first, bro. I mean, you got JK at the front end. JK, we value the fact that you called this from what was the day on that? It was back in March.
Yeah.
Back in March. Sorry, he didn't call it. He had comments on it when it was announced back in March. But he also called, which if you saw the rest of the video, do you remember it?
Yes. Yeah. So basically, Jordan went live because they announced Pereira versus obviously Strickland.
Yeah.
And how crazy it was that obviously they're going to try and leapfrog Pereira to fight Izzy. And he said that Cannonier would fight Izzy and he wouldn't be surprised if it would be on the same card. And who do you know? Cannonier fighting Izzy and Pereira's on the same card as Izzy.
That was crazy.
So
that was crazy.
You got to give it to JK calling that all the way back in March.
Yeah, way ago. But if you guys want to know the latest on the UFC, then this is the place to be. And that literally is just how it goes.
Just before you get into the numbers, obviously, the two comments just come in from Damo saying Sean gets...
Yes, Damo. Love you.
Saying about Sean gets cancelled in the... cancelled? Don't know what I'm saying. In the second round for being a straight white male. Right. Okay.
Cancelled for being that? Maybe just for opening his mouth. Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah. I was going to say. Yeah. And then Marco saying what me and JK thought all week, saying Sean will just stand in a pocket and walk Pereira down, and Pereira will catch him with that nasty left hand, which is you never know. But this is the thing with me. Sean will stand up with someone like Pereira. He was even mocking Pereira's stand up in his press conference, and I think he will stand and bang with him. And like I've been saying all week on Twitter, Sean Strickland has great striking, has great jab. Yeah. He's got a great gas tank. He will always push. Look what he did to Uriah Hall. Perfect example. I know Uriah Hall is no Pereira, but Uriah Hall is known for his great setup of his strikes, his head kicks, his leg kicks. He's got great power in his hands, just like Alex Pereira. What did he do to him for 5 rounds? Stand in his face, poke his face with that jab, and shut him down. But could you do that to Alex?
How good is Sean Strickland when everything's going to plan?
But this is what I mean, yeah.
He's good. He's good when it goes to plan. He has a strategy going in, he sticks to it, and he carries it throughout. But what happens when he gets into the octagon and the strategy is not what he thought it would be, and it starts falling apart? Can he adapt? Can he do something new? Alex Pereira, he's quite a calculated striker. He's
more dangerous than Uriah Hall.
I'm impressed at. Yeah. Let's get some context to the new fans. So you've got some new fans here who are looking at his numbers like, how is a 25-3 fighting a 2-0 in UFC? A bit of context. Alex Pereira's been on the scene fighting for years. He's actually you got his record there, Ash, in terms of like how many wins he's got there for the kickboxing scene. He's been in kickboxing for absolute years. He's the only person to have. He beat Izzy Adesanya back in the kickboxing arena. But what's his record there?
33 wins and 7 losses in kickboxing with 21 knockouts.
Right. So before we think this guy is got absolute newbie and look at those numbers and wonder why they're both even on the odds, but you know he's got a lot of history there. This is just his UFC record, which is 2-0. He's lately stepping into it. And
pro record of 5-1.
Absolutely. And I feel like if you want to sort of get something done against this guy, you've got to really. You got to
wrestle with him.
Yeah,
you got to wrestle with him.
I don't think he's yet been introduced to MMA. While he's in MMA,
he got taken 100%, which you're spot on with. Like his first fight. Let me get it up. I can't remember his name now. But yeah,
Silva, Bruno Silva.
No, the one before that against Andreas Michailidis. That's the one.
Right.
He took him down for the first round and had him down for the whole round. Majority of the first round. Yep. And then obviously every fight starts standing. What does he do? Second round to this Andreas? Flying knee. But this is what I'm saying. You've got to grapple with someone like
Pereira.
But like, look what Bruno Silva did. Took him to a decision because he grappled with him and things like that. And this is Bruno Silva that is predominantly a stand-up fighter. Sean Strickland's got underrated wrestling, so if he uses it, he could predominantly win a decision.
It could be an edge here, but that's a good question. If he uses it, and you know, I feel like Strickland's got a good strategy. Like I've seen him in between rounds, and what I love about fighters, if they got like a really good corner, he's actually given them valuable insight, but also motivation at the same time. And he's got both of that going on in his corner, which is lovely to see. Honestly, I love it. But I feel like he's got the right strategy coming into this. He might have a bit. You're smiling. Who's on the chats?
I was just looking at Marco's comment saying the fight will come down to Sean versus Sean's chin.
Classic. That's great.
That's cool. Right, let's get into the gauges.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Numbers wise, striking wise, pretty even on that sort of thing. Grappling wise, yeah, all on the side of Strickland for no surprise. You know.
Yeah. Of course.
Pereira is fairly new. So gauges wise, striking. Who's got the advantage there?
Oh, this is where it's crazy. Obviously, I'm not questioning Alex Pereira because I want to give it to Alex Pereira, but. Yep. No, I've got to give it to Alex Pereira, man. I
mean, what else has he got? What else has he got? Grappling? Okay, we've got to go Strickland because I've not seen nothing from Pereira.
I just wanted to pause to wait for someone to say something in the chat.
Yeah. No.
Yes, welcome in, Tay. Taylor Young's in the chat. Welcome in, buddy.
Welcome to the channel, man. To the show. You've been to the show.
Yeah, but obviously, don't get me wrong. Sean Strickland has great striking himself.
He does.
He's got, as I mentioned, got a great jab.
He's got jab. His jab is money.
He's 1-2 down the pipe. His money as well. He does have great striking. But
I love Sean. Go on.
But this is MMA, so when we talk about striking, we talk about all elements of the game. So that's why I've gone for Pereira.
Yeah, well, very wisely said. Very wisely said. I agree on that. In terms of power, that's going to be quite hard as well. I might go Pereira on it based on some of the knockouts.
Left hook will kill anyone.
Yeah. He's knocked out 80%. Like, if you feel in doubt, just look at the numbers. He's got more knockouts, so you got to decide that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, 80%, but that's going to be against his UFC record, isn't it? Not so. Yeah. Okay. So it's not much going on there. But even in his kickbox record, we can sort of justify that. Speed wise, who's going to be faster hands? I'll go Pereira again.
Pereira again for me, mate. Yeah, I agree with you.
Cardio, I might actually go Strickland. Yep.
100%, mate.
Yeah, we decided
look at that. Nice and easy, mate.
Nice and easy. But we're going 3 on Pereira and 2 on Strickland. Now, how does your...
This is the thing where it gets dicey. I was saying to Jordan just before we came live, I still don't know who to pick, just purely because obviously what Sean Strickland did to Uriah Hall. And I'm not saying Uriah Hall stand-up is compared to Pereira, but they're similar. Don't get me wrong. Pereira is more dangerous.
Yeah.
But Sean Strickland will just get in your face. And then again, me saying Strickland gets in Pereira's face, that's what Pereira wants. He can just catch you with that left hand.
Yeah.
So I just don't know. Let me just see what Damien's saying. Yes, Ash, that's why Kobe is better striker than Jorge. I was saying compared to last time, I think, when we did this, I think.
Oh, I see.
I can't remember what. Because I gave Jorge striking over Kobe. Of course I would. What, you're telling me that Kobe's a better striker than Jorge Masvidal? Come on. I know in that fight, Jorge was crap, but, come on.
He's got some output, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We get to see that happen.
Right, we're getting to the next fight.
We ready for it? Ready for it?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Next fight up on the card. Co-main event, Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway. I like this guy. I do. I really enjoy his. I love his style of fighting and what he brings to the octagon every single time. Although most times I've seen him in the octagon, it has been against the same guy, Volkanovski. But look, here's the numbers: 24-1 for Volkanovski and 23-6 for Max Holloway. Now Volkanovski is an absolute dog. If you look at the difference in height, significantly favoring Max Holloway, and difference in reach is going to surprise you. It's favoring Volkanovski.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Crazy.
The guy is way smaller, but he's got the reach. And it's just, that's his deception. It's got to be why he's been doing so well. But he's got some power, he's got some punches, and he's got an incredible record that sort of that sort of lies in his wake as well. But let's see what the people had to say about this, and we'll come right back.
Jump him.
Yeah.
I really hate that I have to pick a winner of this fight. Alexander Volkanovski taking on Max Holloway for the 3rd bout in their trilogy. I'm such a huge fan of both of these featherweights. These are 2 of the best fighters to ever do it. And it's so hard to imagine that one guy has to be the underdog in this bout, but the odds makers have determined that that's Max Holloway. He's a pretty sizable underdog right now, like a plus 170. That should not be. This should be a very even fight. I can see why, after losing 2 fights in a row, he is the underdog here, but if you're a betting man, if you're betting on these fights, this is the chance to get plus money on Holloway that you'll never get against any other opponent, at this point in his career. So I'm going to take Alexander Volkanovski. I like what I've seen. It really comes down to the fact that Max Holloway has been dealing with some injuries this year so far. He's had to pull out of this fight a couple times. And it also just the resolve and the ability to come back out of harm's way that Volkanovski shows, especially in that fight against Bryan Ortega, where they were both dog tired, and he was able to get out of not 1 but 2 very, very close, tight submissions and come back and dominate that fight. That showed me a lot of heart, a lot of resolve. things that Max Holloway also possesses, but Volkanovski just has more of a well-rounded game. I think he will employ in this fight, mixing in the grappling as well. I think he'll be more successful with the takedowns this time than he was in the last fight. So give me Volkanovski to once again win a very close-cut decision.
Alex Volkanovski and Max Holloway. This one is definitely a toss-up. I personally am going with Max Holloway because he is the Canadian People's Champ. Volkanovski definitely will put up a good fight, but as Max showed in the last fight, the gap is closing and closing fast.
Raw. Okay.
Great points, man.
Okay. We do have some good points in there. We have some really good points. We got, Combat Addict, again, thanks so much for your opinions on this one. We do value some of your picks going in, man. It was strong.
Speaks so well.
He does, doesn't he? He went to like the nth degree as well. He really broke down like how he thinks it's going to be happening. He thinks wrestling is going to be a key part for Volkanovski. And, you know, Volkanovski's been adding to his game. And Max has been adding to his durability.
He's just been so crazy because, like, they're both looking better than ever. And this is where it comes down to it. Like, both now coming into this fight are going to have to mix it up a little bit better than before because, obviously, Max, they both want to finish. Obviously, Max wants to put a standpoint on it because he's lost twice. Questionable decisions, but hey-ho, they've obviously gone Volkanovski's way. And Volkanovski wants to put a fucking end to Max keep coming up.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I think what's going on here is, I think Max Holloway is getting tougher. He's getting tougher. But I feel like Alex Volkanovski is getting more diverse. He's learning new skills. He's getting wiser. I don't know if you want to put it in those sort of words.
No, 100%.
That's dangerous.
A dog, man.
Just as dangerous, I think. So, yes, Max Holloway is going to be far harder to put away. But at the same time, it's like Volkanovski's finding new ways to do it, which is quite
100%, mate, yeah.
But let's look at the numbers. So in terms of, mate, this sort of fight has just been, you know, the reason why Combat Addict was just saying at the front end how it's so difficult to pick between, because it generally is. Like, you're looking at the sort of knockouts, these guys, you got 50% for Volkanovski, 43% for Holloway. Holloway does like his decisions. Looking at that, it's 48% on decisions over the 38% for Volkanovski. And sort of submissions, they're dwindling around the sort of 10% mark there for both sides of those guys. But in terms of how this fight's going to be seen out, do you think it's going to be a standing affair?
Stop it.
Yeah,
this is the thing. You just don't know, man. And this is probably going to be the hardest gauge that we're going to ever have to do because obviously striking, who the fuck do you give striking to?
I don't even know, bro. I don't even know.
Who in the chat? Who's in the chat now? Who would you give? Have you got the gauge up? Sorry, I know you probably...
They're not there yet. They're not yet. Okay. But think about it. Be patient. If you're in the chat, let's talk. Let's start popping in now. Who gets striking? Because we're going to be thinking for days if we don't. But while I'm looking at the numbers here, if I'm looking at significant strikes numbers to grappling numbers, like takedown average is way on the side of Volkanovski than it is in Holloway. So if I was Volkanovski coming into this fight, I am definitely going to be leaning on my wrestling to sort of make sure I'm putting a punctuation on the end of each round, or at least once or twice in each round, just to sort of make sure I've got some securities in there. But yeah, Holloway's going to have a hell of a lot of heart. He's going to be tough to put away. I just got to be making sure that I'm being wise and catching points. Would you agree?
Yes, 100%, mate.
Let's look at those gauges then. You know, if we're talking now, these two cats on the card, striking. No. Let's talk about grappling. So I can do grappling.
Yeah, we can easily go with grappling for Volkanovski.
Volkanovski grappling.
Yeah.
Power. We have to revert to the numbers. Yep, the numbers do say I mean, it's marginal.
Yes, it's marginal, but yeah, Volkanovski, man.
The numbers say so. The numbers say so. Oh, sorry. There you go, on power. Now, speed.
Now, the next three are so tight, it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Because cardio, they've both got great cardio.
Insane.
Obviously, speed, they're both quick. And then striking, obviously, they've both got great striking. So do you give Volkanovski striking because he beat him twice?
Here's what I'll do. When it comes down to cardio, I have to say they both have sick and incredible cardio, but I might have to lean a slightly bit more towards Holloway just because I feel like he's got more reasons to win here. He's going to be coming hell and heart. I mean, he can't not lose this guy. He's a stubborn guy. And I feel like when it comes down to heart and you got more reasons to win, you just sort of draw power from somewhere unknown. And it's got to come from Holloway. I just can't, you know what I mean? But then...
We got Marco coming in with saying speed for Max and cardio for Max. So agreeing with you there with cardio. So yeah,
what do you think? Max's speed too?
Yeah. And then Jordan coming in and saying surely speed for Volkanovski.
Yeah.
And then Taylor Young chipping in saying striking, speed, and cardio all for Max. But then are you just being biased? Like,
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
this is what I mean. Striking is Max.
I watched their last fights, and I was biased when I was saying Max won that. I know I was.
But this is what I mean. This is what happens when, like, obviously you don't do it on purpose.
No.
Don't get me wrong. You don't do it on purpose. It's just one of them things where you've seen so much of Max. We've seen obviously a little bit more of Max because he's been there before Volkanovski, and obviously. This is the thing for me. Like, I was going to say, like, do you know when I said about Robbie Lawler having more grit? They both have grit. And this is what I'm saying. Like, you cannot determine. For me, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Help.
I guess we are stuck. At the moment, we're looking at this. We're looking at, like, both got striking, both got speed, cardio. They both have cardio, but we're going to edge it towards Max, and that's my humble opinion. I think I'll do it at the very least.
The only reason
striking, I might settle just on Volkanovski with, and not Max.
just purely because he's beat him. I know they're questionable decisions, but just purely because he's beaten him twice.
Yeah, and it's been in stand-up affairs as well.
It has as well, exactly, 100%, mate. Well said, yeah.
And look, here it is. I'll go Volkanovski because yes, Max prides himself on being the best boxer in UFC, but this comes down a little bit. What you might have to tell me a bit earlier about what Damo was saying, but the reality is, like, you know, boxing is one thing, but the sort of striking.
They both mix it up so well. They both mix it up so well, man.
Yeah, Volkanovski does more kicks. Am I mistaken? He has more kicks to his game, or
sorry, Marco's on point with a comment just coming in saying, Marco, this is what happens when the top 6 pound for pound in their prime meet each other. Yeah, this is what we get. We get discussions like this, and then
JK,
it's tough. Damo saying striking is Max. Volk has wrestling. He was forced to wrestle. Yes, welcome in Michael Cully. Michael Cully and Damo. Don't kick off, boys. Don't kick off, boys. Stay calm. Don't kick off. Michael Cully saying Volkov leg kick striking over Max, not generally striking. I get what you mean now. I get what you mean.
It's hard.
This is where we kind of have to give it to both.
Yeah. All right, so we have to leave it on both, and then so if we leave the gauges like this, it's 3 on Holloway's side, and then you've got like 4 on Volkanovski's side.
But like this is like Taylor saying in bold letters, he's annoyed with us. He's annoyed with us, Mr. Brown. Taylor saying Max is the better striker, but if Max was the better striker, why did he not win the last 2 fights that when they were predominantly both standing? And
we didn't judge that.
No, that's not. It's not coming from me and Mr. Brown. We didn't judge that fight. But if he was the better striker, why did he not win the fights? I know they were close. Don't get me wrong. I know they were close.
I'd watch him again.
If he was the better striker, then he would have won both fights.
JK and me, we sat here watching it again, and we just going round by round. It's like, who'd you give that round to? Who'd you give the round to? And we watched it again years on, and we're just like, do you know what? I can see the argument for Volkanovski. Again, I can see the argument for Volkanovski. For those of you guys who don't agree with us, my advice to you is
this is what I mean.
Do watch it back.
It doesn't matter what all of us say. Because they're so evenly matched. It's unbelievable.
It's so close.
Everyone can say that Max is a better striker.
Yeah. First fight, Volkanovski, but second fight, Max looked a bit better. But here's another argument, right? If Max looked better in the second than he did in the third, will he look even better against Volkanovski again in the third than he did in the second? So is he closing the gap?
Yeah, this is what I mean. That's what I can't remember who said the comment earlier. Max is closing the gap.
Yeah.
And but then again, I don't really see a gap between them. I just think they're both so evenly matched. It's unreal. Striking is so close. It's unreal. And I'm not saying that Volkanovski is the better striker. I'm not saying Max is the better striker. That's why I'm torn. I'm torn between both.
That's it. I mean, in the second one round split it, and I feel like for Volkanovski, he got really pissed at the end of round 2, came in round 3 with some different intentions.
Yeah,
we got to get on to the next fight. We could talk about this for days.
We could just put it down the middle, man, because we're going to upset a lot of people in the chat, and we all love you. So
it does side with Volkanovski, but still, I don't even know where I'm going to go with this. Max's seems to be getting better, and Volkanovski's.
I want Max to win because I love Max.
Me too.
I don't know who's going to win the fight though. I can't pick yet. I'm gonna have to watch it. I'm gonna have to watch 4,000 more tapes.
Yeah. All right. So we're at the main event now.
If we've offended you, I apologize, but it's so evenly matched. It's crazy. It's so evenly matched.
And I want to hear the comments. Keep the comments coming. Ash, keep reading them all now. I want to hear these.
Why you change us to the next fight? I'm just going to read out a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Marco saying, I gave the first 2 rounds to Max and 3, 4, and 5 to Volk. 100% in the second fight because Max dropped him in the first and in the second.
Yeah.
So then you've got to give Max the first 2. 100% spot on with that, Marco.
Agreed.
And then Damio coming in saying Volk KOs Max. He's just doing that for clout. You can't be saying that. And then Taylor saying that the best is blessed, baby, saying Taylor Young. Yeah, so you're just being so biased, T. Come on now.
I don't know. I mean, my heart is there. My heart is there for Holloway. It is, but
yes,
looking at those fights back again, it's like, yeah, I can see it.
I want Max to win. I 100% want Max to win, and I hope he does.
We'll see what he brings this time around. Okay, we're on the next fight now.
Main event, let's go.
Israel Adesanya, and he's going to be fighting Jared Cannonier. So we've got 22-1 for Israel Adesanya. I've got 15-5 on the other side in the blue corner for Jared Cannonier. Now, differences here. We have the taller fighter in Israel Adesanya, which is a lot taller than I thought.
Yes.
Are you surprised by that? 6'4" to 5'11"?
No, they're lying.
Bruh, but yes, that's quite differential. That's a difference.
Yeah.
Reach wise, I mean, it's only 2.5, not drastically huge, but that height, I'm surprised by massively.
Yeah.
Muscle wise, if you talk about who's wider, then yeah, you can go Jared Cannonier on that.
You can go for the heavyweight Cannonier.
Yeah, exactly. He's cutting down, so he's got some power with him. But let's have a look at what the people had to say about this, and we'll come right back into the numbers and some of those comments as well. We cannot miss.
Loving the comments. Keep them coming. I'll get to you. Don't worry.
The main event of the evening, Israel Adesanya taking on Jared Cannonier for the belt. This is a good fight. I mean, because you have the power of Jared Cannonier. He's on a streak here at middleweight. He is, I think, 4-1 in his middleweight run. Very dominant, fight-ending power. But once again, if you don't have the grappling to face Israel Adesanya and take him out of his element, you don't really have a whole lot. You're just going to face a kickboxer, one of the best kickboxers in the world in Adesanya. And if this stays at kickboxing range, I think that it's more leg kicks, more, keeping him at bay with the jab, those stinging left and right straights from the switch stances of Israel Adesanya that'll just keep Jared Cannonier on his back foot. And, I don't think he ever gets the chance to really, display his power in this fight. He'll be losing this fight until he wins, if he does, Cannonier. So, I got to take Israel Adesanya to win this fight the large majority of the time. Again, if you're going to make a close fight with Adesanya, you're going to have to be like a Marvin Vettori and be able to threaten with some high-level wrestling. A Robert Whittaker who can strike and wrestle as well. Guys like that. If Derek Brunson ever got a chance at the belt again, these guys who can take Izzy off of his feet are the ones that are really going to, make a... I mean, Jan Blachowicz is a very good example of that. Gave him his only loss. He was able to mix in the grappling. Without that, it's just a kickboxing match against one of the best kickboxers. Give me Israel Adesanya to win this fight by a clear-cut, unanimous decision. I would say is probably the most likely path to victory. I think he could end this fight inside the distance, of course. If you stand and bang with Izzy for 5 rounds, that's always a possibility. But if you want to look at this from a gambling perspective, I think Israel Adesanya is way too big of a favorite and doesn't really give us that much, meat on the bone.
And finally, Adesanya and Cannonier. Initially, I wasn't overly excited for this one, but after researching it and doing a breakdown on it, this is a very intriguing fight, as Adesanya is an exceptional technical kickboxer, and the general consensus is opponents should look to wrestle him. But Cannonier doesn't really wrestle a whole pile, preferring to stand and trade, possessing knockout power, and he has a vicious ground and pound game if the fight hits the floor, like he used against Brunson and Hermansson. Based on this is a matchup that seems quite favourable for Adesanya, as Cannonier will look to stand and trade as well. And while he possesses the power to turn his lights out, he isn't overly quick on the feet, and Adesanya is a master at distance control and picking his opponents off from range. My big fear with this one is that we may see a bit of a tentative affair, with neither fighter wanting to be the instigator. And based on Adesanya's past bouts, it is conceivable that he may kind of take a safer approach and dominate over the 5 rounds, without taking the risk to get the finish. But on the other hand, he may look to make a statement like he did against Costa and be more aggressive and look for a finish, but I would sway more towards the decision or a late finish. While Cannonier shouldn't be fully ruled out, given his power he only needs to land one, but certainly the only way I see him winning is via that big shot.
And then for the main event, I don't believe that Jared Cannonier will have what it takes to beat Adesanya, but this is MMA. Anything can happen. With that being said, Israel Adesanya.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Great points. Great points.
Strong picks. I like them all. I like them all.
Yes.
I mean, I do. I like them all. I do. I love them. But you know, we got MMA analytics. So Liam, again, love your picks, bro. Thanks for sending them in. Do keep doing so. I mean, that's such great insight. If you haven't seen him already, follow him. He's got MMA_analytics, and you can go catch him up on some of the socials and also on his YouTube channel as well.
Just quickly before we get into this fight, we've had some great comments coming in. Marco saying, "Do you think they give a rematch to Max if he? Do you think they give a rematch if Max KOs Volk? If he KOs him, no. If Max beats Volk by decision, yes."
Agreed.
100%. Great comment, mate.
Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. I mean, how long has Volk's been holding the belt for now? How many defenses?
He's beaten Max in one dog defense, beaten Ortega, and he's beaten the Korean Zombie. So he's had 3. So he's kind of had a good little run himself.
He might be title for like a rematch. Yeah. So go around 4. I mean, have we seen people fight in the UFC 4 times yet? Moreno and Figgy would be the first time. Am I wrong?
Oh yes, it would have been.
That would be the first time that 2 fighters have gone 4 times with each other. So look, after that fight, and if we all love it and it's a storm, then the only next one I could possibly see happening again would be Volk Max, providing Max puts a hurt on him this weekend coming up. So yeah.
Anyway, let's get into this main event.
All right, shall we? Okay, so looking at striking, in terms of KO wise, how insane is this? It's even. 67% for someone like Cannonier and 68% for someone like Adesanya. Now, the big difference, submission-wise, Cannonier's got a bit of experience there. Decision-wise, 32% for Izzy, 20% for Cannonier. So look, these guys are actually pretty good on numbers. Strike-wise, again, we're hovering around the same levels on each and every single one of it. Landing per minute, about same. Significant strikes, about same. Where does the difference come in? We're here now.
Yeah,
Grappling.
this is what I'm saying. Got grappling as well, and obviously, everyone in the chat is kind of saying, heavyweight Cannonier. Is he going to use grappling against Izzy? Is he going to use his wide frame to sort of execute a takedown and potentially mix it up? But this is the thing. Go on, you go on.
I was going to say, if he stays there standing with a guy, is he not playing into what Izzy wants?
But this is the thing as well. But General Cannonier is so good standing as well, which people don't see. I don't know why people are counting out Gerald Cannonier this easy, because he is a great striker, man. He's so good, like technically sound. His leg kicks will pay dividends as well. We've all seen how skinny Izzy Adesanya's legs are. Yeah. Gerald Cannonier stopped Anderson Silva with leg kicks.
Yes.
So his leg kicks will pay dividends. He's got power in his hands.
Is he a good mover? Can he move well in his feet?
This is what I'm saying. This could be another Izzy versus Costa.
But Izzy moves really well in his feet. And
boxers, is he Adesanya?
Izzy, yeah. But you know, the guy moves really well in his feet. He really does.
Yes, 100%, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's what it's all about.
It's going to be key in this fight. His movement is going to be key. In and out is going to be key. Yeah. It could be, and as I said a second ago, it could be another sort of reenactment of Izzy versus Costa. But obviously, Cannonier having a bit more leg kicks and a bit more sort of movement in himself. But the reason I'm saying comparing the two is because of the power of both of them.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, the reality is they're both built in a lab.
Yes. 100%, mate. Yeah. for him to get to heavyweight down to middleweight is spectacular, man. He's spectacular, man.
And does that power...
It's definitely transcended down, man, because this is what I'm saying as well, because we've all seen... Like even in the Izzy has been caught several times. Like your Romero fight, Izzy got caught. So who knows? Who knows?
He did, but this guy's got grit and heart that can sort of see it through. Who knows? It's insane. Let's look at some of the gauges and see where we're at with this one. So in terms of striking,
he's got to go Izzy. I'm not even going to question that.
I was going to fight you. I was going to fight you. I was about to fight you if you said otherwise.
No way. 100% Izzy.
All right. Grappling. You got to look at
I don't know.
Have we got to look at numbers, haven't you?
Yeah.
The numbers would suggest Cannonier.
Yeah, we've got to go Cannonier.
because the numbers would say so. I mean, we're looking at he's got submission 0% for Izzy, submissions 13% for Cannonier, and I mean, I'm literally having to side on the numbers there but otherwise I wouldn't put Cannonier as a grappler at all, or have any of the credentials. So in that case, then power.
Cannonier.
They're hovering around the same mark in terms of about knockouts each.
It's got to go Cannonier, man.
Here's one thing.
He's got one punch KO power, man.
He does, but Izzy's got insane technique, which delivers power. And he gets his power through his technique and how he's able to sort of throw his punches and how he does it. Like, it's insane. He sort of manipulates his body in a way that he just drives so much of that power through his punch. Cannonier's just got it in his arms.
I just can't not give power to Cannonier. I can't not.
All right. I guess that's what we do then. That is what we do.
The disappointment in your voice.
I know. I think everything should go to Izzy Adesanya. Speed, he's getting speed. Izzy's getting speed.
He's getting speed. He's getting speed. Hey!
I'm giving it. Cardio now, though.
Listen. All I'm waiting for you to say is if I would have given striking to Cannonier or something to Cannonier, you'd be like, you and me, hell in a cell.
Right now, we'll have it out.
Hell in a cell.
Hell in a cell. I love it. All right. I think so far we've got 2-2. We have striking for Izzy. Yeah. We've got grappling for Cannonier. Power for Cannonier, which
cardio goes Izzy as well. Fine.
What? Yeah, okay, I'll agree on that.
but Cannonier does have a good gas tank himself, but I've just seen more. But obviously Izzy's gone 5 rounds a couple of times.
He has. I agree on that. And what he did against Gastelum was pretty sick.
What he did against Gastelum, obviously, the grit and determination, obviously, he went the second fight against Whitaker went 5. The one against Vettori, stuffing takedowns relentlessly, and he still looked healthy and great. So you got to give it to Izzy.
What's the chat saying? Are people agreeing on this?
Let's have a little look. So we're going, Damian Collins saying Gerald is going to get picked apart, which I can see. Marco saying if Gerald Cannonier closes the distance, he has a chance. Very true. Izzy for sure will pick him apart, says Marco. The power has to go Gerald Cannonier, says Marco. Izzy for, Marco again says speed for Izzy, cardio for Izzy. And then Taylor Young chiming in saying Cannonier is a lot more heavy-handed. He definitely gets power. Sai has a cheek has had cheek to talk about bias for Max versus Volk. Yes, mate. Yes. You've called him out, Taylor Young. Yeah. So, you can't be biased. And he's like, speed, power. I just said, so you love that.
I'm not even hiding it. I am 100% biased towards Adesanya. He won against Jan Blachowicz. He did. What are you laughing at? You and me right now.
That's crazy.
But I'm not gonna lie. I'm not hide behind it. I'm biased towards Izzy Adesanya. But
it's crazy. You do it, and you don't do it on purpose.
No,
you just love the fight so much, and obviously the whole of MMA Twitter will do it for Max Holloway.
Yeah. I looked at the numbers. I sat down. I had to agree. I was like, okay, I swallowed a big pill when I agreed. Okay, Blachowicz did win against Adesanya. And look at the striking and the rest of it, and watch it again. You do see it, but in the moment, all you see is your fighter. And I had huge bias in that fight, massively. But I had to watch it again.
In the fight, obviously, the gauge is all siding with Izzy, and I do think Izzy, as most people in the chat can pick him apart. I don't know. Cannonier is a different type of animal, man.
Yeah,
and like. I don't know. I see him catching him, or I definitely see Cannonier hurting Izzy. Will he survive? I don't know. But I do think Izzy can easily win this fight by picking him apart, standing range. Like you said, 100%. Movement is key. Yeah. But the leg kicks, as I said in the Sean O'Malley, Pedro Munhoz fight, leg kicks change fights. And we saw that in the Marlon Vera versus O'Malley fight. Leg kicks change fights, man.
It does. But, where you're kicking. I mean, Adesanya's got some amazing question mark kicks as well.
Yeah, I think Izzy can finish someone like Cannonier as well.
Yeah, it's possible. I wouldn't be too surprised. I mean, you could do it against Whitaker, then
sure. Just before we wrap up, Marco saying, how stacked is this card? 1 to 10. The main card, if you take out Robbie Lawler and Barberena, even though I think it'll be a brawl, just on paper, I don't think people, because they're both not ranked, are going to give it a 10. Some people may give it a 10, which is fair enough. That's their opinion. If you give that, if they're ranked fighters, then I think I would say it's a 10. But for me, it's an 8.5 because I think it potentially could be a 9 just because I think Lawler and Barberena is going to be a brawl.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and obviously, yeah, 8.599 for me.
I just got a card here as well in terms of the odds there for like the main event or some of the other events. Like they are relatively close. Like you got fights which are going to be like drastically hugely different on odds, and it's like, okay, these are gimmies, these are absolute tossaways. Stylistically, I mean, okay, the biggest odd difference here you can see is going to be Pedro Munhoz, right? He's like plus 245.
100%. Yeah, the massive underdog.
Yeah, and there's Cannonier as well, actually. Cannonier.
Cannonier is a massive underdog as well.
Huge underdog.
And slight favorite of obviously.
Do you think that's right? Is that right? Do you think that's just that as it should be? Cannonier is a huge underdog. Okay, makes sense.
Not huge, but they've got it as there as a huge underdog. Don't know why, but I think that it should be underdog for sure. And the same with Max. Max is underdog as well, obviously, because Volk's the champ.
Yeah.
Taylor Young said give it an 8 or 9. I hope to see you in the watch along, buddy. You always, every time that you tune in, I know you've missed a couple of watch alongs, but every time you tune in, mate, you've got some solid points. And see you in the watch along as well. Dana, I hope to see you there.
The time of that watch along is, give us the time.
3 a.m.
Saturday. Don't miss it. Be there, be square, be at UFC for the best place in the world at the time to be. I don't know. I'm going to sit up tonight. But yeah, and look, personally, if I was to give it a ranking out of 10, 8 wouldn't be too silly. 9, it's quite close.
Yeah.
I mean, Max Holloway. Look, if Barberena brings a brawl like he did against Matt Brown, man, I'm on 9.
This is what I'm saying. If it was like, if them two were a ranked fight for me, 100%.
Yeah, the way they fought Matt Brown. And
thank you all for your comments.
O'Malley gets a nice little sweet finish just to start us off quite nicely.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, the rest of the fight could be pretty nice. I mean, Pereira and Strickland, that's going to be a fight of strategy versus a fighter who's able to adapt. You know, it's gone on fighter IQ. I feel like it's 100%. Fine line between the two, but it's going to be insane. Pereira is going to be someone who's probably going to throw some feints out. I would love to see him throw some feints and catch Strickland as he sort of reacts. He's quite flinchy for Strickland, I think. That could be quite exciting if he calculates something there. The Max Holloway 100%. And Volkanovski, that's always a guaranteed barn burner. And Israel Adesanya is just a joy to see, no matter who he fights.
Yes, true.
So,
but
yeah, for me, it could be a 9 if Barberena.
That's a wrap, man.
I agree, man. We're there. Guys, thanks for tuning in. It's been super fun. I've absolutely enjoyed it. Ash, thanks for making it down for this one as well. Like, we love and value you 100%. And I think the chats have been pretty booming.
Yes, thank you. Again, I know there was a lot of comments at the start of our live. Apologies if we didn't get to them. It was just we're trying to just keep this to a minimum and not drag it out too long. But apologies if I did miss a few comments.
We try our best. We do try our best, don't we?
Don't worry, Jordan's better than me at reading out comments, and that's why he does it at the watch-alongs, and he will read every comment. So don't you worry, Jordan will be there, obviously, at the watch-along. So
he will be. He's been great in the chats today. Thanks, Jordan, for being in the chat today. Oh, you're going to be here, aren't you, on the weekend?
Yes.
You're coming up. Love it. Ash is going to be in the high. It's going to be absolutely sick. Then we've got, after that, we've got a fan cam that's going to follow the watch-along as well.
Yes.
So stick around for that. It's going to be pretty sick. And then we've got next week, the Aftermath show on the Tuesday.
Yes, I hate when there's an Aftermath because you ruined my tough show, Jordan.
Yes.
Me, you hell,
Then you got Ash on the Tough Show, of course, for the Wednesday. Sure,
yes,
you can follow
damn
as well. Some great content there for the whole week coming up. But guys, thanks for tuning in once again. We've loved you, and I hope you've loved the content. We'll be back on the weekend and with more to come in next week. So stay tuned. If you haven't yet done it already, subscribe. Peace out.